All right, my fellow agents, it is I, X7, your host of Zenorama, the podcast of Heroes and Monsters, also the co-host of GD Explanations. You can check that content out every week and ours out every day. Today we are going to go and we're going to talk about the 8th Godzilla movie that was unleashed upon the planet. It's a bit divisive, but overall it's a pretty darn good movie. I mean, once you get past the pretty terrible looking Godzilla suit. But Minya's cute, and yeah, I'm not calling him the Japanese name because it's not how I learned it. People are going to have to deal. Sorry about that, but not really. So, before we get too much further, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and watch a couple minutes longer if you'd like to. It'd be really great for the algorithm. Anyway, having said all that, let's roar into action. So, a quick addendum here. After
3 hours of
our movie starts out right away, with
YouTube
the plane flying
did not want me showing
either
the
thunderstorm
trailer,
over the ocean.
from
The pilot
television.
there is
So I don't know
Susumu
what's going on with that,
who fresh off
or
his
that
stint
unused
from
scene, which is fine.
being Ultraman.
So I've deleted
right
the
around
whole
same time,
thing,
actually.
redone it, and this is what you're getting.
Is
So
the pilot.
That is why you
So
do
it's
not
always good to see him playing a
either
heroic
videos
role.
that I promised you.
And he would.
I do apologize for that
as well, but we'll get to that in
And
due time, as it's my favorite
Just
Godzilla movie.
here's Godzilla's
But they're
entrance.
encountering some strange
So we'll leave you with that.
activity that's interfering,
Be seeing
some radio
you.
waves that are interfering with their radar. Lovely scene, well shot. And look who it is, who pops up out of there in the water suit, which I believe is from the last movie, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, looking worse for the wear as well. And Godzilla himself was played by three people. Hiroshi Sekida, Seiji Onaka, and Haru Nakajima. One of them, there's reasons. One of them got injured in the suit. They wanted him to be taller than Little Man Marshan, who was a pro wrestler who plays Minya in this movie and in Destroy All Monsters. Let's see. So, there it is. Lovely shot, just waterlogged. And it's headed towards Solgale Island, and then we get the credits. This is from the the U.S. version, which was released directly to television by Walter Reed. I don't know, maybe a couple years later. It was one of the last ones I ever saw on television, and one of the first ones I ever got the VHS tape of, which is where this came from. It was by Good Times Home Video, which is just funny to think of that they put out this one, Sea Monster, and Gigantus, the fire monster. I bought all three of them, $10 each. But they had the Sea Monster and Son of Godzilla had the the Tetra dubs, which is what I listen to. There's the international title along with these. This was a hybrid DVD or a hybrid version that I first got from one Ted Johnson, and he does great work. If you ever want to know how to get to him, let me know. Let me know, and I'll help you out. So, but this is from, I believe, a VHS rip from a British PAL, not VHS, but a PAL rip, way back in the day when the international versions were just being discovered, what we call the international versions, but not nearly as, it was complete, unlike our version, which we found out then that we had a couple of movies didn't quite have all the scenes. Now, I can see why they cut that, but it was 2 minutes. I mean, 84 minutes would give you in a 90-minute time slot. It was probably 2 hours, so I don't know why they would cut it. But maybe they wanted Godzilla to make a better appearance. So there's Sadamasa Arikawa did the special effects under Tsuburaya's supervision. Tsuburaya was working on King Kong Escapes. We'll get to it. Look at the colors in this movie. I mean, they're on Solgale Island to perform experiments. A couple of them are cranky for being on the island for so long. Man, there's no women yet, and they're hearing strange noises in the jungle, but they don't know what they are. I just love the colors. They're just vibrant, and I miss movies with colors, as I've said many times. in English. So this is obviously geared for an international market because it's got English everywhere. Most of the time, it makes sense. Our heroes today are, and there's no real villain in this. Even the monsters that are trying to eat Minya, Kamakura and Kumanga, aren't particularly mean. They're shown to be a little cruel just because, a mantis and a spider, giant mantis and giant spiders, but they're just hungry, really. So our heroes, Akira Kubo as Maki Goro, uh, Tadao Takashima, that's him as Professor Kusumi, Beverly Maeda as Seiko Matsumi, and Akihiko Hirata, we see right there on the right-hand side, Yoshio Tsuchiya, Kenji Sahara, and then a couple others, Kenichiro Murayama and Seishiro Kuno. That's it. Those are all the people in it, and the rest are monsters. I already told you who those were. Brainwave interference. Well, they don't know that yet. And then Goro's plane flies over. Somehow he's found out. They drop 2 parachutes. He shows up. He's like, well, they're not coming back for me, so I can't go anywhere. And they're like, well, I hope you can cook. And now we see the first appearance, sort of who they dub as Gimantus. And of course, Goro's taking his pictures because he's a reporter and photographer. And we get a glimpse of him in the, as they're going off. But in the VHS version, the full screen one, you didn't get to see a lot of it. There's a lot that's cut out here. This movie was meant to be seen widescreen, so it's nice to do. The DVDs are nice that way, and I'm happy that the American version, the American dub, was preserved because it should be. So he's just taking pictures everywhere, and he spots Beverly or Seiko. She's swimming there, but nobody believes that he saw a girl. They think he's nuts. He's like, I'm telling you. Now they're getting ready to start their experiment. They're trying to control the weather. In the history of science fiction movies and books and anything, has that ever gone the way it's supposed to? No, 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 no. But again, the attention to detail here. Now, Wikipedia says they use cheaper and lesser talent. I disagree with that. I think this movie looks just as good, and they could spend more on the sets because they didn't have to build miniature cityscapes. That is just a few, like this one. So Goro is trying to warn the girl. That's all what he calls her because he doesn't know her name yet. But the countdown is on. Unfortunately, Godzilla's brainwaves cause a malfunction, and it blows up too soon, which caused the temperature to rise, and the seas to boil, and the rain down at 400 degrees or something, and just destroying what it can, wiping out the vegetation. Now everybody's too warm, and you get cranky, especially this guy right here on it. But Goro's still taking pictures. He's fine. But we run into, there's the first shot of the giant Kamacuras or Gimantus. Take your pick. It's way more effective than the Deadly Mantis one. The marionette's really well done for the most part. There are a couple of shots where they don't make it look like it would be as heavy as it should be. And as we all know, in real life, the cube square law would have crushed all of these animals. But look at the match shots, though. As they walk by, you can see the people hiding. There's a great one. They're like, well, it wasn't that big, but they found something that's buried here, and they're out to get it. A giant egg. Once more, the egg must have mutated while it was there, or gotten embiggened by the radiation. These guys are smoking in an enclosed area full of sensitive electronic equipment. The 60s were a different time, weren't they? And somebody has stolen Goro's red and white shirt. And it's Seiko. Bet she gets away. And these three Gimantuses are ridiculous that he couldn't pound open an egg until now. But Goro names it that. I don't know if it says that in the subtitles, but I don't think I've watched it subtitled. in its original Japanese language. Giant mantis isn't as cool as Kamakura, though, I think. Uh, but off they go to take pictures and find out what they're cracking open. And then, so Seiko's there as well. And out pops Minya. And look at the detail to this marionette. And it's kind of scary. Look at the face. Not the mama, right? Am I right? Or he wants to phone home, doesn't he? Completely great entrance for Godzilla. Right on the shore, and he heads right toward the three bugs. And they're like, yeah. And then we switch to the new suit, which is, alas, I mean, they tried to make it look more like Minya instead of making Minya look more like Godzilla. He was never called Tadzilla by the Japanese. That was a Forrest J. Ackerman invention for his magazine because he thought it was cute. And it is a cute name, and he's not related to Godzuki at all. So they fight. So Godzilla has a fight with these three. Now there's only three of these mantises, and I mean they're not really going to be a match for him. And, the breath, all the special effects are really well done. Still, the flying claw that almost hits Goro. Godzilla grabs Minya to drag him away, and then body slams another mantis and roasts it this time. They do show a bit of resistance to his atomic breath, but the animation's spectacular. It's timed well, so off he goes, and Seiko befriends the little critter by feeding him, and there's a nice shot there. Really well done. The fruit is cartoon animated into the shot there, and Godzilla shows up and climbs on. So a lot of these sequences would be redone by Ishiro Honda for Godzilla's Revenge, and we'll discuss that in the next, in that movie. She tells Goro that only a woman would wear a shirt like that, so he gives it to her. Dun dun dun. Now they're friends. There's the damage from the storm. They introduce her, and her father being an archaeologist who was left her there or got killed or something. And then Kamakura shows up again. Now, yes, Toho does add an extra S to an S to the end of it, but it's just I don't. Toho does weird things so they can trademark names. And the guys are falling prey to a fever, and they have to go to the red water, the fire water, which has Godzilla sleeping next to it, and Minya's goofing off, bunch of goofy. I didn't keep a lot of that because what's the point, right? I mean, I did want to use the VHS rip to get some dialogue done, but I couldn't download it, so I didn't. Goro is no match for the island girl, and she makes fun of him for not being able to keep up with her, and then shows how she's befriended Minya, and then Godzilla shows up. There they are, right down there. Really, I mean, the effects here are quite good, but she says the firewater is there and Aspiga lives there. And the way they say it, and they call it both things in the movie, Aspiga or Spiga, it's Kumanga, because Kumo is Japanese for spider. So Kumanga it is. That I'll take. And there, Minya dislodges a boulder and, of course, wakes the arachnid up. The awesome arachnid. Spectacular spider. Take your pick. And they're like, nah. And now they're watching Godzilla teach Minya how to breathe fire. And he was a little harsh on his kid, like, do it or I'll smack you. Which he shows him how. Stomps on his tail. Once again, this reshot scene for, not scene for scene, but in Godzilla's Revenge. I don't know. They both work to me. This does not have Ichiro doing the narration, though. Godzilla lies back down, goes back to sleep. While Minya practices, our humans fill up their canteens full of the red water and give everyone, so they're well in a half an hour. So this is a nice shot. The movie was shot partially in Guam, so it's got the outdoors. You can tell that where it's not a set, much like the Shaw Brothers, you can always tell. Then it was also shot around Tokyo lakes, the 5 lake area in Tokyo. So the only sets really are the monster sets. Uh, Once again, the detail on this model, this puppet marionette. Is it a Muppet? Oh, Sam Neill would not approve, would he? And there she's running from him. Mina arrives to save the day. There's his atomic smoke ring, or what we always call atomic smoke puff back in the day. Thanks, because, of course, like I said, we didn't see this movie. This was not aired, at least as far as I know, until the um, 80s, maybe not until cable got into town. Don't quote me on that. Sea Monster was shown before this. I think Son of Godzilla, and I know that Gigantus was the last of the original run of Godzilla, first series Godzilla movies that I saw. And then once again, the VHS tapes came out about 3 or 4 years later. Who knew? Now Kumanga's awake while the bugs fight Minya, who gets the stuffing beat out of him till Godzilla shows up. But, his fight flies away, but there he is in all its magnificent, ugly glory. Once again, not an evil monster, but the eyeballs glow, the blue ones and the red ones, and it's superbly, though, you don't even see the wires, even in the nicer prints. I mean, another matte line there. The web can only be dissolved by fire. Good job, Goro. And I think I don't know what string that is, but they would fling it out. Now, of course, much like Mothra, who shoots webs from her mouth, Kumanga shoots webs from its mouth, which is both the opposite end it should come out. I can see why they changed it. It's a mutant spider. That's how it works. Tobey Maguire doesn't know why his webs come out his wrists, right? His Spider-Man? No. We just don't talk about it. I just like the matte shot here. Oops. And they get back. Apparently she's never taken that shirt off again. But Kumanga's on the rampage, or at least looking for food. It would have to be hungry to try to eat human McNuggets, right? They're so small that wouldn't even be a thing. But it's spun a web outside there, and they have to go and get to it. They're in a cave now because that's the safest place for all the equipment. Of course, if there are monsters on top of it fighting each other, it's not that safe. Fujisaki, that is Akihiko Hirata there, the radio man has contact with a sub. They're looking for him. They're sending him. They think it's a ship, but they're sending a sub. Spoiler alert. And then Seiko says, "Here's another way out. Swim underwater." Here it is. And that's how they get everything set up. So the probe, because they're going to run another experiment to try to freeze everything back, and then so they can get away from the monsters without dying, getting eaten or crushed. Because even this thing, Minya could crush you even if he wasn't really trying to, right? Now I do have a trailer for this, but I'm going to put it on at the end, and I have an alternate sequence for the ending. So I'm not sure exactly where that's going to be, but you'll find out. Yeah, he's helping, and they're like, "Go, go!" And yeah, so Kumanga shows up. Now they start fighting over there. But he's still using his breath properly, which he didn't learn how to do in 1999 when he only could shoot smoke rings. So Minya might not be the brightest of little monsters, but he looks much better here than that puppet. But he's still no match for a spider the size of Kumanga, who webs him up. And there we go. We've got to get the raft ready. And you can see, the surviving mantis shows up and gets webbed. Here's the balloon. And it goes off, which wakes Godzilla up. See, this is the Freon or whatever spray they're using. There's Kumanga's. It's just this like needle. Now, a real spider, of course, has two fangs that inject poison into both poison and the thing that dissolves the fly or whatever it catches into goo. But that's why nobody wants to be bit by a spider, because it'd be painful. And they're like, okay, they're going to be here. And now he's going to inject Minya when Godzilla shows up and blasts him. And the final battle begins. And even Godzilla is susceptible to webbing. Okay. It's a really well done, whole exciting sequence. You've got the cuts between the monster action and the humans, the drama there. The marionetters know that a spider curls up to, when it's dead, but it'll try to do that to get away too. Spits its web into Godzilla's eye, shades it. Well, this would be recreated in Godzilla versus the Smog Monster some 4 years later. Jeez. But there they're all battling now. There they've killed Minya or killed Kumanga and are getting ready to go. So at this point in time, I'm going to show you the alternate ending. Right? Okay, our heroes are off the island and it's freezing. We're going back to the ending that was used. The alternate one's just a little longer. That was a fan re-edit, and that's why there's only a little music in it. Hopefully that won't cue the YouTube censors. And there's the snow. There's some animated ice that comes out. And Minya's whining because he can't keep up. He's probably saying, "Daddy, don't you walk so fast." And he falls down because he's freezing. And then Godzilla turns around. In the unused take, he got clear to the water before he went back. I mean, he's a little crueler. And they're like, "Oh," and then they'll be fine until they thaw out. But it might have been 30 years before they thawed out, which would explain why Godzilla or Minya in 1999 was still the same size and had forgotten how to use his fire breath properly. Right? There it is. The submarine shows up. They kind of throw you like, "Oh no, there's something else popping out of the water," but it's just this sub. Everyone, we're here. We're saved. Yay! We can go back to civilization. And there you go. Like, yeah, that's where they say they'll wake up. And that is our episode, Son of Godzilla, the 8th Godzilla movie. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. If you think any of my theories are plausible, I do. But that's just me. So, having said all that, my fellow agents, until our next assignment tomorrow, which will probably be a book review. This is X7 signing off and phasing out. So, a quick addendum here. After 3 hours of being annoyed, YouTube did not want me showing either the trailer, which is from television, so I don't know what's going on with that, or that unused scene, which is fine. So I've deleted the whole thing, redone it, and this is what you're getting. So that is why you do not see either of the videos that I promised you. I do apologize for that. And just here's Godzilla's entrance. So we'll leave you with that. Be seeing you.